Please note, for maximum picture quality, it may be necessary to adjust the tracking control on your VCR.
Hey everybody, welcome to this little bonus episode. We figured because we'd kind of completed our 90s miniseries that we just wanted to kind of bookend it a little bit. We're kind of a little bit fastidious like that. So we just wanted to kind of talk about the films that we'd seen during this 90 miniseries, talk about how maybe how our views of those films had changed a little bit, and just kind of put a proper full stop on our little miniseries before starting the 1970s. So we'd figured we'd do like a little award show. Should we introduce ourselves? I'm Liam.
I'm Ollie.
There we go. And this is a Just Your Tracking. Just Your Tracking special features or bonus app. I don't know what to call it. Ollie will think of something.
Sounds
fancy.
good.
And
it's alright, sounds good.
This is our little kind of wrap up for the 90s. So we figured we'd do it in a bit of kind of awardsy style. A bit kind of so we can kind of structure our conversation a bit.
We need to have like a name for our like awards then. So like, you know, like you have like the Tonys or the Emmys. We need like the Trackies or something.
The Trackies, I like that. A nice comfortable pair of Trackies, so you can slip on. You've won the award. So,
Just Your Trackies.
So who are you going to give your Trackies to this year?
Right, you go first.
Right, we'll start with Best Actor then. What do they normally start with the Oscars? What's always the first Oscar? Is it Best Supporting Actor they always do first?
Probably,
right?
yeah.
Should we do Best Supporting Actors first?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay. So I'm not going to do nominations because obviously it's just the films that we'd watched. But I kind of found supporting a little difficult, if I'm very honest, to select from all of this. But I ended up going with Ice Cube in Boys in the Hood playing Doughboy. I think he was my favourite kind of supporting character from this, and a character then that I can't stop thinking about since I watched the film actually.
Guess what?
What?
He's my favourite supporting actor as well.
Hey! Awesome. He gets 2 pairs of trackers.
He does. Our awards are tracksuit bottoms. We actually watched. I'd say for me, at least 6 or 7 of these films were really, really solid films, and like the top 5 could be quite interchangeable for me in terms of what I thought of them. But yeah, Ice Cube for me is my standout for best supporting actor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he nails that character. The character is such a kind of feature of 90s films and even beyond that. And I kind of astonished that he didn't get much rep back in the day because he dominates that film really. He's the emotional heart of it.
Agreed.
I think Ice Cube does it really well.
So what's next? Next supporting actress.
I think, have you got any other actors you could have picked from the other films? I was kind of struggling to kind of think people I really liked that supporting that really dominate. Because the thing with Chungking Express is that all of them are leads in that film.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm trying to think. Who did I like? Oh, William Dafoe, I think, maybe in Wild at Heart was really good. As what was his name? Bobby. Shit. Shit.
Utah? Oh, something like that, is it? Is it a state?
Bobby something like that. No, yeah, you're close. I think it's something like that. But I can't think actually who were the... Maybe Remains of the Day, the dad.
Yes.
To be fair, that could have easily been...
That could have easily won. A lot of the guys in Dead Presidents, a lot of the guys in Glengarry, Glen Ross, but I didn't really like Glengarry, Glen Ross that much. But so what have you got? So we'll do Best Supporting Actress, so you first.
I picked Bridget Lynn from Chungking Express, to be honest, for Best Supporting Actress.
I think
I thought out of all of them, it was quite hard to pick Best Supporting Actress because in Election, Reese Witherspoon's a lead character. It's not really a supporting character. Remains of the Day, you've only got really...
You've only got Emma Thompson.
You have got some of the female characters, but they're not like massive in it.
I couldn't pick supporting. Last Days of Disco, If Last Days of Disco was coming up for awards, I can imagine a studio deciding which one of those two were supporting or lead. You know, if they want to split the vote.
Yeah.
But
so, what did you go for?
I went for, and I'm not totally sure how to pronounce her name. but I think it's Ambush, Wright, from Dead Presidents, who played the sister in Dead Presidents.
Okay, really?
Because
I mean, not that she wasn't bad, but I just found her character really lacking. But
sure, but I think like it's when I was trying, as you say, it was a little bit difficult to pick best supporting actress, but for me, she's the standout of that film. She's the best thing kind of about it, the iconic imagery for me. And since we watched it, she's all the person I've really thought about when I've thought about that film. So when it comes to like best supporting, I was like, she supports the film in a way that elevates it. And I think
but the film doesn't support her, which is a shame.
No, it doesn't.
Like, we've spoken about it. That the film could have been a lot more. There's a good film in there, but it just wants to be everything when it should have just been focused on.
But it's quite a lot of time when they do those best supporting actor noms. They're not always the greatest film, but the actress really like dominates it in a way, or supports the film in a greater way, kind of like Kathy Burke and stuff in the last Oscars and things. So that's the angle I was going for. I wish I'd looked up how to pronounce her name, Enbush or Enbushy or something. I can't remember.
So what's the next one?
Should we do screenplays?
Sure.
Have you got adapted and original?
Yep.
So I'm gonna do adapted. What's your adapted?
I picked Remains of the Day.
Same. Another double pair. Another pair of trackers.
To be fair, there's a few of these which are based on books. So
most
Remains
of them,
of the
actually.
Day, Election,
yeah.
Perfect Blue.
Yeah.
Wild at Heart's a book as well, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Glengarry's a play.
Yeah, good play. Yeah, so a lot of them.
Suburbia's a play. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot to pick from that. But yeah, I think Remains of the Day was really well written and
great adaptation. Yeah, great change from book into screen and capturing that.
Well, I found my dad has the original book, like illustrated book. I think I showed it to you and you said you like those. It's a particular type of book.
Oh, the folio books. Yeah.
The folio books, yeah. So I might give that a read.
It's meant to be a good book. A number of people have spoke to me since listening to our show, actually, and saying how much they love the book. And shamefully, I've never read it, but apparently more people I knew read it than I thought.
What's your favourite original screenplay then?
This was really difficult for me, but I went for Chungking Express, I think.
But it's a great film. So,
yeah, and I think
you can't really go wrong with it.
It's well structured. I love the story of it. I love the structuring of it. I love the characters in it. I love the flow of the way they interact. I think it's a fantastic screenplay in that.
I went for Boys in the Hood.
Okay, cool. I can't argue with that.
I thought it was a great film. Great characters. Yeah, I mean, who wrote the screenplay? Was it? It was John Singleton,
wasn't it? Himself, yeah.
Yeah, so your first screenplay, your first film, and he just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. Can't argue with that at all.
So what should we go for next?
Director?
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Okay, yeah. I went for Mr. Satoshi Kon for Perfect Blue. I felt that film is all about the direction, the way it's structured, the way it comes together, and the way they play images, and the way it morphs, the way the colour palette of the film changes, blah 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 blah. I think that's all about the direction. I think lay a lot on his feet, especially because he adapted the story as well himself.
Guess what?
What?
He's my director choice.
No
as well.
way! I thought we were gonna have a split there. Cool, man. Another pair of trackers. I can't believe it.
Yeah, man. No, it was just fantastic. Just the way that they put that film together, I thought was fantastic, and a perfect use of animation in a film that wouldn't necessarily have to be animated. And I just thought they just he just did a fantastic job.
I was going to ask you about this. When it comes to looking at what we would term cinematography in an animation, what does that mean? Yeah. What does a cinematographer bring to like an animation that's different from like what a director brings or from live action film? Well,
I mean, like people like Pixar and that, they will hire cinematographers to because even in a CGI, you have virtual lights, don't you? So you would have a cinematographer in that respect. But it's an interesting question with hand-drawn animation, because you have to draw in the shadows, or the backgrounds have to be drawn in a certain way, and but yeah, you'd still need a cinematographer to kind of help fit the mood, I guess. Like, you'd have to. But it's like I remember having this argument with my friend Brandon, who's going to be on the show at some point.
Hey, Brandon.
And I think Gravity won Best Cinematographer.
Okay.
1 year.
I can't remember who shot that. But...
And I think Brandon disagreed because it wasn't a live action. It wasn't like physical cameras. It was like mostly CGI, because in that film, the only thing that's really real is their
faces.
It's just their faces.
Yeah.
And then there's like a few scenes inside the space station, I think, later on. But so all the lighting in that is fake. It's in camera. It's in the computer. Sorry.
Sure.
But the same skills have to apply. You have to get it right for it to work. So I don't see the disconnect for me. I see it as all the same.
Yeah.
But maybe that's because I'm an animator, so you have to kind of think about those things as well. And I think it's a bit unfair to kind of say, oh, it's its own thing, whereas it's not. It's the same thing,
Still thinking about the same challenges, thinking about the same kind of setups, and
if you're playing guitar, like if you're playing a piano, and you're recording it and you're making a recording, that's a recorded piece of music. If you're recording a piano on a computer and you record, it's still a recorded piece of music. So I don't see how it differs. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing. But I don't know if that's answered your question. But
no, it has. I was just curious. Okay. It's like I find the whole process of animation so unwieldy. Like it's like to me, it feels like such a big task. And to make like an animated film seems crazy to me. Like I can't understand how anyone ever completes an animated film. And like, so sometimes it's like I wonder how just the tasks break down, or how that works through, because I can't imagine sometimes a lot of people see the whole.
An animated film will probably have about 4 or 5 directors on it. So you'll have the overall director, but then you'll have a timing director, and the timing director is just the person. They'll have a piece of paper. They'll have the script, and they'll say, okay, this scene is going to be 30 seconds long. On frame 1, this is going to happen. By frame 5, this movement's going to happen. Frame 10, going to get to this point. Because it's direction to give the animator to say, okay, I need to animate all this within this 30 seconds or 5 seconds or however long it is. Then you have like... what else do you have? Like direct supervisors. You have all kinds of different directors on an animated film that you wouldn't necessarily have on a live action film, because you probably have about 400 animators who are working for you, and you have to make sure they're all working to the same goal, because otherwise it could just get completely unwieldy. So you have to have lots of other directors involved. That's what you'll find is on most animated films there'll be a lot of double duty directors, like 2 directors working on films and stuff like that, like as the head honcho, because there's just so much work to be done.
Yeah, I've seen that. Right, should we move on?
Yeah, man.
Let's do Best Actress.
Sure. So you go first?
No, you first. Right. I'm asking.
I can't decide between 2 of them.
That's fair. I think this one's difficult.
So I'm just going to say both of them because I can't decide. And
that's not. No, they can't share. They can't share the Trackies.
Yes, they can. They can have a leg each. Well, I've picked either Emma Thomas or Laura Dern, and I couldn't decide between the 2. I keep saying it. Emma Thompson or Laura Dern. I can't decide between the 2 because they were both committed performances.
Yeah,
and they were both really good.
I went for Laura Dern.
I think in my heart of hearts, that's where I'd probably land if I was to mull it over a bit longer.
Not that it's not to take anything away from Emma Thompson. She's an absolutely amazing Remains of the Day. But I just love Laura Dern's energy and performance in Wild at Heart. I think if Wild at Heart is anything, the 2 leads, her and Nick Cage, drag that film through. They give you stability to keep 100%. Watching it. And Laura Dern I really latched onto. With
Emma Thompson, and I don't mean this as any disrespect to her because she's fantastic, but you can throw a rock and you'll hit a performance that's like this in other films that she's done.
Sure. Yeah, she's I would say she's more engaging in like Howard's Way, or
Yeah.
or like in a very similar sort of role. Then again, not to be disparaging because she's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so should we go best actor?
I've gone for the Twitter sensation himself, Sir Anthony Hopkins in Remains of the Day.
Guess what?
What?
So have I.
Hey! I think
He's so good.
Yeah, that performance is, yeah. I think if, in terms of Anthony Hopkins' performances or just performance in a film, that's an absolute anchoring performance, and he's
100%.
He's subtle with it. He's subtle like a sledgehammer. Is that a phrase? It's like he's so subtle, but it's really powerful. Like,
it annoys me when people get like. Don't get me wrong, I love Silence of the Lambs, but when people say that's his best role ever, I'm like, is it? Is it really? Is it?
Sure.
Like, he's good in it. Don't get me wrong, but like this is just like another level. Like when an actor can, it's very hard for actors to play that subtle. I think.
Yes. Yeah, in such a quiet film,
and carry a film as well at the same time.
Yeah, and be engaging and keep your attention.
And he
on
manages
screen
to do all of them.
And makes you feel emotion for a man who doesn't emote at all at any point. Like,
I mean, it's a very British film in the fact that it's all about people not saying the thing they want to say and like not muttering but kind of dancing around the issue and
it's all about the things
so
that are not said to each other more than anything else.
Yeah. Okay, so should we go for? Well, I've got score and soundtrack, so I don't know how you want to play it.
Oh, I just did a soundtrack that I like the most, but go on. I'll hear yours.
So for score, I wanted to go for Chunking Express because I didn't say this on the Chunking Express podcast, but the theme was amazing. And apparently on the actual soundtrack, that theme isn't on it. It's like broken up, and there's only like little bits of it within other like tracks from the score. But I went for score. I went for Remains of the Day because the main theme for Remains of the Day is sublime. It's so good. It's like a beautiful score.
Yeah, I think I know the score from Remains of the Day from like just having classical music on in the car and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's something that's kind of persisted for me. So yeah, I would agree with that. I had trouble picking soundtrack. There's a few soundtracks I really like in this. I think the Election soundtrack is really good. I think the Suburbia soundtrack is really good, even though I didn't see anything about the film. But I did actually pick Chungking Express for soundtrack. I think it was my favourite one.
Well, you've got that nice Cranberries cover and stuff like that.
And
although they did egregiously overuse what's the song?
California Dreaming.
California Dreaming. And then for my soundtrack, I picked Suburbia just because it's got a lot of bands that I listen to anyway and songs that I haven't heard from those bands. So I enjoyed that. So
definitely great soundtrack.
Suburbia. It's a shame about the film.
Shame about the film, but the soundtrack's great. And yeah, Election, I thought the soundtrack was great as well. It's, as you say, I think you said it on the episode, it's got a Sebado track on it.
Yeah, it's got some good tracks on it.
Yeah, which was a big thing in the 90s. This is why I kind of wanted to ask about soundtrack in this, because like for me anyway, I've got big memories of the 90s films that I always had the soundtrack with them. I had like it on cassette and stuff like that. So like I remember the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack was huge, and I remember the Kingpin soundtrack, I think. I remember like
Cable Guy one was big.
Cable Guy one, yeah. I used to listen to Cable One Guy a lot. And then I think that was others. I swear we used to have loads of stuff on, like loads of those. And it kind of peaked with the Matrix soundtrack. Oh god, the Spawn one. A lot of Crystal Method or Filter.
Yeah, Filter and the Crystal Method. Yeah, and like Stabbing West was on loads of soundtracks as well. Yeah. But Filter was on everyone. Like, I really like the X-Files movie soundtrack as well.
That's the one I was trying to remember. It's got like Bjork on it and stuff.
It's got Bjork, Foo Fighters. You've got Soul Coughing, Filter again. I think there's a really good Noel Gallagher track on it, which he then re-recorded with. Who's the guy from the Stone Roses? Ian Brown, I think he's singing on it, but not on the X-Files soundtrack one. It's just a musical one on that one. You've got the Cardigans, Aswad and Sting. You've got loads on
that. You got everyone? All of them come out for it? And then it kind of does peak with Matrix. I remember the Matrix soundtrack being absolutely massive. Everyone had that at school. And it was like a lot of people's first introduction to like Rage Against the Machine and stuff. Even though I don't know how they hadn't heard of Rage beforehand, but like a lot of people found
probably
it through,
hadn't,
like, the
to be
Matrix
honest.
things. I'm sure I had it on a cassette.
Well, the Matrix soundtrack was good because it had, what was on there? You had, well, it's where I definitely discovered the Deftones, which for me then changed everything. You had Marilyn Manson, Rocky's Dead, Propellerhead's Ministry,
Ministry,
The Prodigy, Rob Zombie, Dragula,
yeah,
Hive, Monster Magnet, Rammstein, because that's where we first
Du
discovered
Hast,
Rammstein.
Yeah.
And Rage Against the Machine.
And then soundtracks kind of just started dying, I swear. They just don't do them anymore.
Yeah, it just kind of went, it just became more score based, I guess, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's expensive it's probably more expensive to license music than it is to record your own music.
I think maybe there was just a thing in the 90s that people were desperate to have like people do.
Well, it's all about the merchandise, the tie-ins and all that kind of stuff.
So you've got 2 songs for Batman Forever, and you got 2 songs for Batman and Robin that marketed both of them. You got a ballad for both of them, and then you got like the rock song for both of them.
Oh, you got Gotham City by R. Kelly, didn't you?
By R. Kelly, yeah. And then you got The End is the Beginning is the End.
Read the lyrics for that Gotham City, because it's like,
I don't want to.
City of Justice, City of Peace. Gotham City's not meant to be any of those things. It's like, do your homework, R. Kelly. Stop.
So, undeniably,
groom underage girls and
Seal's better than R. Kelly in that. Like, Kiss from a Rose is the best. Like,
it's a good song, though. That is.
But what's your choice between End is the Beginning and whatever the U2 song's called?
Oh, Smashing Pumpkins All Day Every Day.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, totally.
I love the fact there's four different versions of that. You've got The End is the Beginning is the End. You've got The Beginning of the End is the End. No, Beginning of the End is the Beginning, and then there's 2 other versions. And they used one of them, the non-Batman, the one that wasn't used in the film was then used for the trailer for Watchmen.
Was it?
Because in Zack Snyder's words, I wanted to redeem this song because it was too good to be wasted on that film or something like that.
Oh wow, good news! He's going to redeem Justice League as well.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that yet.
We haven't talked about that once. I've been ignoring it, and you just brought up the Z word, the Schneider word.
We'll cover it whenever it comes out, whenever it's dropped onto...
Don't give a shit. You know what the worst thing about this is? That fucking David Ayer is saying that he wants to do the Ayer cut for fucking Suicide Squad. And he's trying to get momentum behind him. No one wants it. No one alive wants that. David Ayer, go away. Go eat a bag of Slipknots.
Right, okay, so should we go to our top 10s of of our favourites? Okay, we'll do it around Robin, so we'll do 10, we'll just keep going. Like, I'll do my 10, your 10, whatever. Okay,
you confused the hell out of me. What are we doing?
So this will end with my best picture.
Okay.
Okay, so my number 10 in my list is Suburbia. I thought it was a pretty shit film, to be honest.
To the point.
What about yours?
Suburbia.
Okay, my 9 is Dead Presidents. Like, I really wanted to like this film, and I think it looks good, but it just totally missed the mark on everything for me. It just kind of... It's like 3 films in one, and only one of them was slightly interesting, and it didn't really fulfill its potential for me.
Fair. I had the same. Dead Presidents at 9 as well.
Okay.
I think I liked it a touch more than you, but
yeah,
it doesn't really work. Like...
my 8 is Last Days of Disco. After a second watch, I definitely got a lot more out of it, but it's still not really a film made for me about kind of New York, kind of what do you call it? What's the word?
Yuppies, young yuppies.
Yuppies, yeah. It's not really. Yeah. It's not really for me. I can understand why some people really like it though.
My number 8 was Glengarry Glen Ross. In
yeah.
Similar sort of way that I can understand why people like this, but it's not really for me. But the only thing I really got out of it is enjoying these actors kind of working, really, and just watching them do some acting was kind of fun for me. But I didn't really like the film that much.
So I've got that as my 7, and
Okay.
the reason being is I really like Jack Lemmon in it, and he could have possibly been up for best supporting actor, but he's not a patch on Ice Cube. But Jack Lemmon was really good in that film.
I should have said that he was the guy I was thinking about as best supporting as well, because Jack Lemmon is the best thing about that film.
What's yours?
Wild at Heart.
Yeah, okay.
It feels low, but I think that's just a product of the other films we have. More than anything else.
They're very strong. So from mine, from 6 to 1, well, 5 to 1 anyway, could probably be interchange.
Yeah,
but
5
number
to 1.
6 is my number 6 is Wild at Heart, and we talked about it at great length.
Yeah, my number 6 is Last Days of Disco. Yeah, Wild at Heart. It's a great film. It's a great film, but it just there was better films in our list, I think, is the only way to say it.
Yeah. I still like it when they stop the car and rock out to metal, or we're at the metal gig and they're doing their weird mosh dancing or whatever. My number 5 is Chunking Express, but again, these could all move. So it's not to speak badly about that film. And 5's not a bad score, but
no.
But
my 5 was Election.
Yeah.
Again, brilliant film. Me, Paul, and yourself spoke about it for a very long amount of time.
We did.
But there was other films I preferred this year.
My number. I don't know if my number 3. My number 4 is Election.
Okay.
Again, same reasons, same as you said. It's a great film. We all liked it. I haven't really got anything bad to say about it.
My number 4 is Remains of the Day.
Oh, okay.
Which is wonderful, but there was films I preferred more, personally. That's all that, there's nothing I can't say anything bad about Remains of the Day. It's just...
my number 3 was Remains of the Day.
My number 3 is Boys in the Hood.
Yeah. Anything else to say about Boys in the Hood, or...
It's wonderful, and go watch it, especially now. I think I can say that.
Yeah, it's very poignant, and I guess Dead Presidents as well, very poignant at the moment. Yeah. Where am I at now? I'm really struggling with my number 1 and number 2. I would say my number 2 is probably Boys in the Hood.
Fair. My number 2 is Perfect Blue.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know.
My number 1 is Perfect Blue.
Sure. My number 1 was Chungking Express.
Oh, wow. So I'm assuming that's your best picture.
Yep. So my best picture this year is Chungking Express. Come along, Mr. Wong Kar-wai, and get your pair of Trackies.
Yeah, mine's Perfect Blue. I don't think he's able to get my Trackies, unfortunately.
He isn't. Someone have to come collect it for him.
Yes, I'm sure someone will be able to. I kind of want to make some tracksuit bottoms now.
But yeah, those top 5 for me, as you say, easily my number 5 could have probably crept its way up, or number 4 could have crept its way up. It was very interchangeable. But
yeah,
out of everything, Chungking spoke to me in a way that's my type of film. That's what I look for in a film, and I keep thinking of Chungking since watching that. So I think that was always going to be my number 1.
I mean, it could have been higher for me, but it was just really strong. And Boys in the Hood on another day could have been my number 1, because I just thought it was.
Yeah.
I just thought it was fantastic.
It's
just got some little oddities in it. Like by the time, the main character grows up and he's Cuba Gooding Jr. He looks about 25 when really he's supposed to be about 17, and his dad is about 2 years older than him. It's got some weird little things in it like that, but I thought it was a fantastic film.
So it's it was when we put together this 10. I didn't totally know what it was going to be, but we ended up with a pretty strong kind of miniseries, I would say.
Yeah, I think so, and we definitely picked films that were a bit out of the norm.
Yeah, definitely.
And we definitely had some reaction from people going, "Oh, I love that film," or "I've not seen that. I'll check that out." Or
yeah,
funny you've done this because I've just ordered this film just right this second. So
yeah, there's a few people that talked to me who are out of the woodwork have been like, "I love that film," and no one's ever mentioned that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
So that's really, really satisfying, actually.
So hopefully in the 70s we'll get some more films that we'll enjoy equally or just as much.
I think the difference when we're going back in time and looking at the older series is the fact that I would have at least, let's say, we would probably have seen less of them. So
yeah,
there might be room to have a little more of, I don't know how to put this, but there might be more like bigger films there. Where I think on 90s series,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
A lot of the films they're big films, but they're a little more indie. There was a little more indie vibe to them. Let's say that. I think.
Yeah, I hear that. Right then, I guess that wraps it up for today. Yeah, do you reckon?
It does. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll see you again next week, and I'm guessing we'll be hitting the 70s then with our first film, which is Wendy.
Which is
correct.
Wonder.
Wonder. That's the one. Wonder Wendy. Same difference. What if I find a film that's called Wendy and I'm like, we started to talk about the film and I'm like,
this was trash.
Very different.
What is this? Yeah, Wonder, which I just said would be hitting bigger films. Wonder's a little difficult to find out there, but you can find it. But it's I haven't seen it yet, so I can't tell if it's good or not. It's just I can tell you that it was picked for selection and for a recent Venice Film Festival. So it's got some proper kind of heart behind it.
It's got some clout behind it.
Clout, not heart, yeah. And hopefully it'll be a good episode. All right then.
With that said, don't forget you can find us on Twitter. We're Adjust Your Track. That's your with a YR, not a your. We're also on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. Please rate, review, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. And remember, if the picture's bad, always adjust your tracking.